Now, we're going to race through this. Here we go. Verse Chafal, 21. And they went up and they spied the land, BaMidbar Sin, and Bechov, Levo, Chamat, until Chamat. Vayalu Banegam, they went up to the south. Vayavu and Hebron, they got to Hebron. V'shamachim an Sheishai v'Talmai, they are knocking over there the Yisachim, and Sheishai and Talmai, the children of the Anak. Hebron, Sheva Shanim, the Talaf de Tzor Mitzrayim, and Hebron was built 7 years before Tzoan Mitzrayim. The obvious problem with that little piece of information is, the first question you always ask when the Torah tells you anything, who cares? Like mine is an important piece of information. I mean, I want to know where they went. And by the way, parenthetically, do you know that Hebron was built 7 years before Tzoan in Egypt? Okay, thanks. And therefore, just thought I pointed out. It was just relevant, man. Like, who cares? Why is that an important piece of information?
But doesn't the CHUMASH tell us that, isn't there a conflict with David?
Yeah, it was there already when Abraham...
What was Abraham buying? And where was he buying?
He was buying more from Machpelah. Yeah.
But don't we say that's in Hebron?
Yeah. Oh, all I'm saying is, no, we don't know exactly when Hebron was built. The city of Hebron was built 7 years before the city of Tzoan in Egypt was built. Do you know when the city of Tzoan in Egypt was built? No, I have no idea. Right? But all I know is that Hebron was built 7 years before that. And therefore, that says what?
Tzoan is not mentioned as one of the cities.
No, it's cities of Tzoan in Egypt. It's mentioned in Tanakh. All right? And therefore... A. B. Another problem. Look at verse 22 carefully. Vaya'alu, they went up the south. Vayavo, and hopefully Varscol does it right. Vayavo translates as?
They came.
Who came? He, she, they, them, him.
Vayavo.
Vayavo is?
Him. They.
Him. He. Singular. Vaya'alu, plural. They went up the Negev. Vayavo, and he went to Hebron. Can't do that. You can't switch your plural and your singular, right? You can't do that. That's bad grammar. Okay? So those are our two problems. Famous answers. Says, now we're not going to do just one Rashi, it's very long. Says the Rashi, which escapes me at the moment, for God's sake, where's the Rashi? Here we are. Rashi in the Al-Hebus, page 159. Says Rashi, Ve'avo and Chevron. Why do we switch to the singular? Kalev levado halach sham. Kalev, all by himself, went there. V'nishtatech al kivrei avot. He poured his heart out on the graves of the avos. Shlo yeh nisat. He shouldn't be seduced l'chaverav, to his friends. L'yot b'ashratam, to follow their evil plan. So before we go on, obviously Rashi's trying to solve the problem of the singular. They all did not go to Hebron. Only one went to Hebron. Now, one went to Hebron. Let's try and narrow it down. We got 12 guys. Who can we probably get rid of quickly? The 10 bad guys, right? Because they're the bad guys. But we have 2 good guys. So how do you know it was Kalev rather than Yoshua? That's why he continues talking. The Chenu Omer, that's why the verse says in Dvarim, V'lo, talking to Mr. about regarding Mr. Kalev, V'lo, and to Kalev, Atena ta'aretz asher darachba, I will give Kalev the land he walked on. Funny phrase. That's the end of Moshe's life, and he's rewarding Kalev for not messing up with the Meraglim. And as a reward, Kalev will get the land that he walked on. What was Kalev given? Do we know? Yeah, you look in the book of Shoftim, look in the book of Judges, it says clearly, Vaynu Kalev at Hebron. Kalev was given the city of Hebron. So put it all together, A equals B, B equals C, and there you go. We know Kalev got the city of Hebron. We know Moshe specifically said that as a reward to Mr. Kalev, he's going to get the city that he walked on. One, either him or Yoshua went to Hebron, must have been him, and now it all ties together. That also mysterious, end of the pasuk, sometimes it goes pretty easy, and that's that. Gewaltig. The only problem you have story-wise is, of course, is, so Kalev went to Hebron to pray, so that he should, obviously already sensing something's going wrong. What would you like to know?
But they were already planning to...
A, they were already planning what got into their heads.
Where was Yeshua?
Where was Yeshua? Why did Yeshua go?
He has to be with them.
He didn't need to go because Moshe already
So you all said very good. So some people said Moshe never for him. See, Moshe took care of me. Other people said, listen, if we both cut out, God knows what these clowns are going to do, right? So probably said, I'll go, you stick with them, right? Make sure nothing goes wrong while I'm away. Absolutely correct. Very well
But
said.
in fact, at the end of the story, it seems that Yeshua is a little less confident.
That's going to be also, we have to read it very carefully.
Which could be a result of Hebron.
We're going to have to see very carefully exactly what happened. After the spies do whatever wrong they do, Kalev is going to be the one who's going to speak up. How come Yeshua doesn't speak up? Absolutely going to have to deal with it, 1,000%. Okay, so you're right, you might want to keep this in mind.
Seems like he was a hell of a traveler.
You want to keep it in mind. Excellent. Now, why is this piece of information Sheva Shanim Nivnata? There is a long Rashi on this. We are not going to do it for lack of time. Basically put, Rashi's answer is going to be, it shows you how great Hebron was. Hebron is the city of graveyards, and therefore usually a country gives its worst land as graves. So on, he proves from Psukim in Yeshaya and Isaiah that so on was the place where all the ministers and princes of Egypt lived, which means so on must have been one of the nicest places, right? And yet Hebron, Hebron was built 7 years before Tzoan in Mitzrayim. Now you have to understand that Hebron was built for Canaan, which is Ham's youngest son, right? Okay, and Tzoan was his older son. Right? So why would he build for his younger son Hebron before he built for his older son Tzoan? He says because the way is, first you build what you want to build the best, and then you take all the leftover junk and use it for what you want to build second. First you start to build what you really want, and then whatever's left over, you build your next city. Right? So therefore, Hebron was built 7 years before Tzoan, which means Hebron must have been a better city than Tzoan, because Hebron and Tzoan were both built by Mr. Chum, and therefore if he built Hebron first, it must have been the more prestigious city, and so on was second best, and it ends up that Hebron is greater than Tzoan, and funny enough, Hebron's the worst city in Eretz Yisrael, because that's where the graves are. Tzoan's the nicest city in Egypt, that's where the princes live. The worst city in Eretz Yisrael is even better than the nicest city in Egypt, so says the Medrash. That's what we're being told here. Thank you very much. Okay, we go on. I just didn't want to leave you with that question. Now, onwards. They got to Nachal Eshkol. They cut from that a vine, and a cluster of grapes. Very difficult verse here. They carried it on a pole, bishnayim, with two. Either two people on one pole or with a pole with two poles. Right, Rashi says there's really 2 poles with 4 people. And they took pomegranates, and they took figs. To that place they called it Nachal Eshkol. Al Odota Eshkol, because of the Eshkol, Asher Kartu B'Shem B'nai Israel, that the Jewish people cut. So because of this Eshkol, they call the place Nachal Eshkol. Of course, the only problem with verse 24, where it says that they called it Nachal Eshkol after the grapes were cut, the problem with that, of course, is...
They went to the valley of Eshkol first.
Then in verse 23 it says they went to Nachal Eshkol, but it wasn't called Nachal Eshkol yet. So you could say simply, they went to the place which will be called Nachal Eshkol, don't be dumb. Also we're supposed to call it. They went to da-da-da, whatever the name was before it was. Where is that? Well, that's what is now called Nachal Eshkol. But you could have done that. They went to wherever the place was, and they cut a thing, and to that place, the name that got changed to Nachal Eshkol. Right, so it's a slight problem. Famous Vilna Gaon, of course. If you look at Chav Gimel, what was the name of the place? How is it referred to in Pasuk Chav Gimel? Nachal Eshkol. Look at the word Eshkol. And look at the new name in Chav Daled, Nachal Eshkol. Difference is? Right. So it used to be called Nachal Eshkol without a vav, and afterwards they called it Nachal Eshkol with a vav because of the Eshkol, the grapes, because Eshkols with grapes are always spelled with a vav. So it used to be called Nachal Eshkol without a vav, and once they cut the grapes, they changed it to Nachal Eshkol with a vav because of the Eshkol. So there you go. Don't ask what the difference in pronunciation is, because that's a good question. But, so they say.
That could be painful to sign.
Yeah, but you just have to go and
With the line, yeah.
In modern Hebrew, isn't it Eshkol?
they didn't print them, but.
Escolit,
Right.
I think is a grapefruit. No? Or maybe not.
Escolio.
Escoliot. Mitzvah escoliot,
Plural.
right, is grapefruit, right? I think escolit is a
It's the
grapefruit.
singular, I think they wrote
Okay?
that
Now, on.
for GPS.
Vayeshuva mitzvah haaretz, and they got back from spying out the land. Miketz Sabrim Yom at the end of 40 days. Vayelchu, and they went. Vayavo el Moshe v'el Aharon. They went and they came to Moshe and to Aaron. They'll call Adat b'nei Israel, and to the entire community of the Jewish people. El Midbar Paran, to Midbar Paran. Kadesha, specifically to Kadesh. Vayeshivu otam davar. I don't know what Rabbi Archibald says here. But Vayeshivu otam davar, they brought them back a word, or they brought them back a report, right? Ve'et kol ha'eda, and to the whole community, Vayavum et pri ha'aretz, and they showed them the fruit of the land. What would you really like to know about that first? What information is not in there?
It said.
What they said. They brought back a report what they said. Now, we could continue reading. Vayisapru, and they told them, Vayomru, and they said, Banu al arz asher shlachtanu, we came to the land that you sent us to, Vagam zavat chalav udvashi. And yes, it is flowing with milk and honey, Vizet Piryah, and this is its fruit. FS, but Ki Az Ha'am, the nation strong. Hey, Shebars, the nation is strong, we're living in the land. Ha'arim, the cities, B'tzarot, Gedolot, Ma'od, are very fortified. Gamili Dei HaNakrin, Usham, saw the children of the giants. Amalek Yoshev Beretz HaNegev, Chiti, Avusi, Amori are in the mountains. Kanani, Yoshev Alayam, Kanani is sitting by the water. Al Yaraden, and by the Jordan. End of report. The Yeshiva Tam Davar, they brought back a report. Report was, quote, blah blah blah, Vaskal Vash, giant, blah blah blah. Some people learn it like that. Look at the words carefully. Why is that a little tricky?
Reported to him.
Right. They brought him back a report. They showed him the fruit. Then they sapru lo vayamru, and they told them and they said, right? Doesn't flow great, but at least it solves the problem of what was a report. Maybe. If we assume that the report was some kind of report, and we're not being told what the report is, whatever it is, right? Verse 27. So let's go again. Vayeshivo tam davar, right? So they got back, and they came to Moshe and Aaron and called Adat b'nei Israel. Vayeshivo tam davar, they brought them back a report. Viet kol heda, and all the community. What's funny about that phrasing?
It's like they brought them the community.
Right. Who's the them in Vayeshivu Otam Davar? They brought them back a report. Who's them?
Aaron and Moshe,
And why not anybody else?
because they added to it after that,
Oh.
the community.
Exactly. And that's exactly what Rashi says right there on the spot, right there on that very page on 160. Vayeshivu Otam Davar Moshe vet Aaron. So they brought back a report to Moshe and Aaron. Ve'et kol ha'eda. And then they also said something to the entire Eda. Yarum is pi ha'aretz, and they showed them the fruit. Then 27 has too many verbs in it. Vayisapru lo, they said to him. They said to who?
Moshe?
Moshe on his own, whispered in his ear. Do you remember, lo could be the community as a singular. Vayomru, and they said, too many words. Vayisapru lo, Banuela Arz Asher Shlachtan. Right? To top it all off, whatever that, forgetting the report in verse 26, which we don't seem to know what it is unless it's the report coming up in 27, 28, in Rashi's eyes, where the problem is going to be Lashon Hara, let's look for it. Banu al arz asher shlachtanu, we came to the land that you sent us to. V'gam zavat chalav udvashi, and it is flowing with milk and honey. V'zeh priyah, and this is its fruit. Anything wrong so far? No. They were told to bring back fruit. They said it's flowing with milk and honey. Efes ki az ha'am. but the nation is strong. I'll tell you right now, the Ramban said their sin was totally and completely in one word, and that's the word Ephes. But is their own personal statement that, right, it's a great land, but it's impossible to conquer. No one asked your opinion if it's possible. Just tell us the facts. Right now, the Ramban is going to say the whole sin is right. According to Ramban, they said no lashon hara about the land. They said the truth. They didn't say anything bad about the land, but they made a statement about it's unconquerable. Where did they say it's unconquerable? They said, "Oi, but the nation's strong." Just say, "And the nation is strong." Period. And then everyone will say, "Oi, they," whatever they'll say. But it's not the Spies' problem. When they said "but," that's a put down. "Oi, but," especially Ephes. Ephes, but who cares if it's good? It's a lost cause. And that was their sin right there. But without that, forgetting that, let's not learn that way. Ephes, but ki asa, the nation strong. That's true, and that's not lashon hara. They were asked that. Harim b'tzirog the very fortified cities, they were asked that. They are not some giants. They were asked, are they strong or many or few? And Amalek, that's the end of the speech. I didn't say anything wrong. One small little problem which will end. Is the video still going? One little small problem will end the video with. So you have to watch the next one, which is not going to be for quite a while, because next week is Purim class. After that is Purim. After that I have a school program, so I'm not coming. So you're not going to sleep for 3 weeks. According to Rashi, how were they supposed to know if they were weak or strong people? How were they ever going to know that? Right. And what was the sign? If the cities are fortified, then
Weak.
weak. And if the cities are not fortified, what? According to the report, what's the reality? Are the people strong or weak? What are they telling everybody?
Strong.
What are the cities? Fortified. I thought Rashi said if they're fortified, that means they're weak. Because if they're really strong, they don't need fortifications. That's all, folks.